Exclusively for Spin Alt on Spin Southwest. My name is Ray Wingnut and I'm here in the amazing Guerrilla studios on the north side of Dublin City, and I'm delighted to be joined by what I feel is the most essential artist in Ireland of the last 20 years.
That's very nice.
It's loud man Jinx Lennon. How's it going, Jinx?
Oh, going grand.
Yeah? Feeling good?
Yeah.
All right, welcome to Guerrilla Studios.
Thank you very much. It's a great spot. I love it.
Yeah, settled in?
Yeah.
Deadly. Now, listen, Jinx, I spoke to you for the first time around this time last year on the phone, and you told me then that you were about to record a folk album, right? Now, when you told me this, my mind flew back to when I first heard you and a track that you had called A Template for the Modern Singer-Songwriter Man. And it was a kind of a rip on guitar singer-songwriter sameness, right? So when you said to me folk album, I thought to myself, is Jinx gone soft here now? Right? No, I think I was wrong in that assumption. But can you tell me why Grow Up Here is a folk album?
It's a folk album because what I see as folk music is first of all, it's basically writing, singing about where you come from in your own voice, and that's folk music to me. To basically put it down, singing in your own voice about where you come from and what's happening around you is folk music, because you're taking it back to the source. You know, there's no pretentiousness about it.
Yeah,
you know, here you go.
And and another way you would have described,
because what I do anyway, the other albums I would see in folk, but sort of amped up to the mic with samplers and all sorts of stuff. But it's still folk to me. It sounds like folk music to me, anyway.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think yeah, in that sense it always was. And again, harking back to the very first album, like I say, I've been listening to you a long time, so I've got a lot of questions that go all the way back to the very start, right? Now, the very start, you would have also said that that you don't need a carpenter's apprentice approach to playing guitar or playing instruments. The crucial instrument that you see is soul.
Yes, of course. I would prefer to hear somebody who can play banging their head against the wall and giving me an in-depth sort of look at their lives or having a crisis of some sort, than somebody who's a really good player boring the crap out of me with something sort of a meandering thing. He's a great man. He can be in the early morning, early hour radio show on RT. Great. He can play 100 jazz guitar chords, but it's bullshit. Because you want to hear the individual, what's going on with their life. You want to hear the sort of crack-up stuff. You want to hear the crisis. You want to hear somebody saying that to make you feel. It's just so you can have faith in the human race again. You need something to be faithful, to give you faith, that'll bring you on to the rest of your day, better reality, because it's hard to find that. It's like there is. That's what I'm saying. I told you I was going. I was handsy to waffle.
No, I know. I want you to keep that train going, like that train of thought going, like the train going over our heads. Is because that's what I think I find in your music. What I find in your music is that you talk about stuff and you approach subject matter that I don't hear in other people, and it can be personal stuff, it can be stuff about the place where you live, it can be about small town Ireland, it can be about a lot of things like that, and a lot of themes that I think are very, very difficult, but I think that you deal with them in a way that is so direct and so cutting through a lot of the waffle is, I think it makes for a very emotional listening, a very moving listening for an audience. So I think that would be part of that soul music. Would you agree with that?
Well, you see, where I grew up at the border, I think a lot of people that I would work with and live around me would be the same mentality as me, but wouldn't articulate it. So I think that if people can sort of see what I'm talking about like that, like there is a thing where I was trying to explain this to Chrissy Moore about the way if you go to Dublin, people sort of look like lost. They're staring into space at the bus stops. You go into Dundalk, say, and everyone's sort of pretend they're looking at the space, but they're watching everything like that. They're like lizards. Their eyes move around their heads. You go to the west, to Galway, and everyone's talking at the bus stops. Really naturally. So there's the whole difference with that. With Dundalk people and that, what they're seeing, there's a whole edginess because we grew up with the Troubles and stuff. The house would shake when bombs went off. you'd be sitting in maths class on a Friday afternoon, and you'd be looking out the window, there was helicopters and bombs going off, and the teacher would say, lads, back to the maths. How could you go back to maths when there's a apocalypse now? Who's going outside the window? You know? So there's an edginess there. It's always as something's going to happen. So that sort of comes out in the writing as well. Like there's all taking that for granted and always expecting something mad to happen. So to project that in the lyrics was important because I wanted to, because I didn't see it around me. When I started off singing, I was in band for years and I got fed up with it. And then the Spirit Store opened and there was a tendency, at that time it was back to the singer-songwriting. But all I was seeing was fellas singing about smoking joints. I was saying, I can't have any of this, I'll carry on. Is anyone going to say anything real? So it's just what I would like to see on the stage.
Yeah.
That's all I want. It's something, if I was looking, sitting on the stage, you want to hear someone giving something back to you that'll bring you on to the next day, something real, that's going to be real life. It's a bit of a humanity. So I'm trying to give a bit of humanity back. But all the crap that goes with that, because I'm no saint, I'll sing about that as well.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing. Because a lot of folk singers will sing and it's like us versus them. It's not us versus them. Everyone says, put themselves in the boat of everyone else, because if you grew up in the Congo, you know, and you were whatever side you were, you probably would be murdering people. It's just the environment you put in. Nobody's a saint, you know.
Yeah. And I suppose that was like a thing I wanted to ask as well. You know what I mean? Like when you do write in a really truthful manner, and then sometimes like it can be quite harsh and stuff like that. It can be harsh on yourself, or it can be harsh on the town around you. Is that a tough thing to put on stage sometimes, or is it kind of?
I'd be self-conscious about it. I would, because I always think there's someone so going to think, oh, he's a prick, he's giving it about us again. He's not there. Because in our town, it's always football the whole time. And, it's like, it's almost football fascism. You know, that's all it is. But it's just to bring out something else as well that someone else isn't doing. And I'd love to see loads of people like myself in the town. Not like myself, but doing something similar, you know?
Yeah.
Singing their own voices about what's going on. And we have a few. We've Dave Keane, we've got Jim Johnson, Pete Johnson, people like that. But there's, as I say, because there's always room for more. Like I thought we'd have loads of rap bands and all, because a lot of the kids love rap, but it's I haven't seen it yet. You know, I'm really disappointed with that. There's still the whole thing, and the other thing is, the unfortunate thing is that in music there's a tendency for the middle class sort of ethos of the nice singer-songwriter, the nice lassies up singing nice songs about this and blah blah. There is a tendency, and I say that at the arts office there, that art is for the middle classes. The football and the bookies and Netflix is for the plebs, you know, this sort of thing.
Yeah, and like I think, like I say, when your music connects with an audience, it is a very moving thing because it has that element to it, but it has another crucial element to it as well. I think it has a comedy element to it.
Of course, because that's real life as well.
Yeah,
life's hilarious. You know, like even the darkest things you'll hear about. Like I was listening to the guy Ivan Little go on about the North during the Troubles. And he says there was a staunch loyalist. And he was a drag queen, and that was his other job. Like, you know, that's hilarious, you know?
Yeah.
So everyone, there's a story to be told. But if you keep going on as if everything's sort of bad, that's not real life, you know? You're fooling yourself. There is comedy to be found, and you look for it as well, because that makes it more human. The best movies you ever seen, the hardest ones, like there's Goodfellas, for instance, a great movie. That's a bloody comedy, and there's Joe Pesci in the middle. He's a big comic himself, but he brought the menace out of it, you know.
Yeah,
at the same time.
I think that's what I really wanted to get at, because I wanted to get at, like you said, you have to look for it. You have to look for that bit of comedy. And like,
I listen to people talking. I listen to people there, and I listen to. There's a lot of women walking in and I listen to this. Your hair is lovely. That's a song. Do you know what I mean? Like, even that, like, the way they say that. Because there's always a bit of menace in there, you know? Like, do you know, like, what does that mean, your hair is lovely? What is she looking for? You know, there's all the nuances to go with that.
You never take it at face value. Like.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
All right. You always read more into it, like a true artist. All right. That's brilliant. And of course, like you said as well, like you grew up in a border town, and there's an edginess to that, right? How are you feeling at the moment now that, like, the border is at the centre of so many news stories?
It's not so bad for me, because I grew up with it. So I know what to expect. It'd be for people who haven't grown up with that and have no idea. Like, I don't know what's going to come with these clowns like Boris Johnson and Rees Moggs over in England. They're complete clowns. And then you've got Arlene Foster up the north and stuff. I think what I'm thinking is that a lot of people who are real staunch people up the north who are farmers, when the EU money's pulled out, then they start to realise that the real McCoy and they'll sort of. I'm hoping they'll sort of look to the side and maybe think we're better off throwing a lot of time with these boys, you know. To be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting. But of course, and do you pay attention to that kind of stuff? Like, I mean, like
All the time I am very interested.
Yeah, like a lot of your
really
music kind of balks at the idea of nationalism and stuff like that. You know what I mean, or patriotism, and a lot of its kind of forms. You know, but yeah, like, but then at the same time, there's a real graw for the place where you're from.
Yeah.
And like even in the current album, there is a song about country music.
Yes.
You know, there's a song about the town of Castleblaney.
Yeah.
And there's even a sample of Big Tom on there.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought that was amazing, because it's really hard to tell if you're kind of taking the piss out of it or if you're actually writing a love song.
Right.
To
Okay.
Big Tom.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Would that make sense to you?
Yeah, I hear you. There's a lot of like, I do love the place I'm from. Like I do appreciate it. Like a lot of the work I would have done work in Castleblaney and stuff. I love Castleblaney. It's a great town.
Yeah.
You know, it's a fabulous town. Like we were doing a video for that song a few months ago, and we happened to be in one of the pubs. It was half one today. There's loads of old guys sitting there talking away, like no plasma screen TVs and that, just pure talking over each other and stuff like that. We just sat there last night and says, this is brilliant. Like, you know, you don't see that in the dog, but you get mostly the television will be on, the football will be on, Ladbrokes, whatever, Boyle Sports, heads staring into space, you know, we're on a 5-year mission, all this, you know.
Yeah.
And it's great to see it. And just the way people sort of, for the nuances, for 20 miles up the road, it's different, but it's still border, you know.
Yeah, and just to go full circle, then what about that Big Tom thing though? Like, you know what I mean? Did you listen to a bit of Big Tom before you recorded your folk album?
Look, no.
There's a bit of country and Irish in there, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, listen, there's I would have a sort of a what would you call it? I would notice stuff like that. I used to sort of like stuff like that. Listen to it. Wouldn't be a great lover of it. But I would like, if there's a good tale in a song, that's me, you know, that's great. If there's a good song about something that sticks in your head, it's great. Like, I thought Big Tom, he did a cover of a Merle Haggard song called I Am an Island. And his wife died about a year before he died, you know, and he's just the video, and he's standing in the video, and he's walking across the field. He looks like he doesn't give a fuck about anything, you know. And the trousers there and the guitar's in his lap, and he's sitting beside the lake. He just looks like that. He looked like he'd come to hell of you. But I think it's great. It's just there's something about that, and the song it's a great song anyway. And so I like that song. Now the other songs I couldn't. 4 Country Roads might have a bit of a crack with that, but you know the rest I couldn't really give a damn. But it's good to see it there than say Daniel O'Donnell or whatever. The other Nathan Carter, all this crap, you know.
Yeah.
That's all crap as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
like that man, Big Tom. Like at least he was an individual, you know.
Couldn't agree more. And listen, you're certainly a very singular artist yourself. And listen, can you tell us about the tracks that you're going to play for us this evening?
A lot of these songs are works in progress. This will be for the next album, which I want to record as soon as possible. Lovely Man is about a guy I work with who's a CUNT, and I just thought I'd get that out of the way because it was boiling up me, so I had to sing it. And the Smoke Over Clog Chapel is about growing up when you're a teenager and going down to Newry and Sardis, and on the way down, seeing smoke and then having to come back and just going through the customs and the menace you'd find from because you'd have to go through customs and you'd have to go through the army checkpoint at the same time. So it was all that. It's also a bit taken that for granted. It was just part of the day, really. And then, you know, there wasn't a big thing about it. So there's a bit of humour in that song, but it's just saying the way it was then, you know. And what's the other one I sang? Nothing But a Leprechaun is a remake of the song Nothing But a Leprechaun is from one of my previous albums, National Cancer Strategy. And did I sing another one? Oh yeah, the
title track from the album.
The Duke of Alcohol.
Oh, the Duke of Alcohol.
It's about going out to the Oasis in Carrickcross. It was a big barn on Saturday night and fortifying myself to talk to the women, but it never worked. You come home with the bus alone. So that's really what that's about.
It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant stuff. Thanks a million for coming in. It's brilliant to have you here.
Oh, it's great to have you there, and Now, you have me for body and soul next year, I presume.
Listen, I'm sure I'm on the spot now. I fucking have to. All right. Listen, thanks a million to our very own Big Tom McDermott on the cameras, and of course,
man, Tom.
Spud Murphy at the controls.
Come on, Spud.
All right, Jinx Lennon.